About 6,000 people have fled to Uganda amid renewed violence in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The M23 rebel group is largely blamed for this. Congo's army has also blamed the rebel group for shooting down a UN helicopter, killing 8 soldiers.
In Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, thousands like Riziki Ndagijimana have been forced to hit the road.
We were just in our homes when we heard bullets, bombs and explosions and just ran.
Heavy fighting erupted on Sunday night as the M23 rebel group attacked army positions. By Tuesday evening, they'd moved into the city of Kibindi and were nearing the area's local administrative seat, the town of Rutshuru. Uganda's Red Cross said on Tuesday that some 6,000 refugees had crossed into the country from 6 villages near the border. Congo's army has confirmed M23's attacks and blamed Rwandan soldiers for supporting the group. It claimed to have captured 2 Rwandan soldiers and presented them at a press conference. Sylvain Ekenge, deputy spokesman for the Congolese army, said Congo was being stabbed in the back. UN investigators have previously accused Rwanda and Uganda of supporting the groups, which both countries denied. On Tuesday, Rwanda reiterated that position, saying it was not involved in any belligerent activities in its neighbour. Congo's army also said M23 was responsible for the shooting down of a United Nations helicopter on Tuesday, which the group's spokesperson denied. 8 peacekeepers were killed in the crash, the UN said, adding that it is now investigating. M23 seized large swathes of territory a decade ago before it was chased out into Rwanda and Uganda. It has since returned to carry out attacks. There have been regional efforts in recent years to have M23 demobilize, but its leaders have complained about the slow implementation of a peace accord and have accused the Congolese army of waging war against the group.
For an update on the ground, we're now joined by Congolese journalist Alain Uayikani. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program. M23 have been a significant factor on the peace issues on the east of the DRC, but it seems as if the authorities are struggling to manage this grouping, and more recently reports keep coming on through about the interference of countries like Rwanda and Uganda. As a journalist who's been dealing with these stories over time, what do you think is at the heart of what we're seeing in the east of the DRC?
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me this evening on these issues of the Eastern DRC. Yeah, there is a problem. There is a problem in both sides, first of all. We have to understand that these issues of M23 is lasting for years right now. The government of DRC is part of responsibility as well. If you try to come back on different stories of rebels and militias in the Eastern DRC since the past government up to now, we all have the problem of the agreement. The government of DRC seems to have a serious problem of dealing with the agreement after the signature. So this is exactly what is happening with the M23. We have some of the cases in the area, in the region. You come back in the region of Ituri or with this M23, but as we are talking to these issues of M23, they seems to be a big deal to the DRC government. Of course, because this is one of the big rebellion that the DRC government has been trying to deal with them since Kabila era, and right now, Felix Tshisekedi as well is facing the same issues. Of course, all the rebellion in the Eastern DRC, they have a link with some regional countries. We cannot deny this fact. Denying this is really to ignore the reality of the region. But the problem, first of all, is in DRC. How the government of DRC is dealing with the agreement when it's signed. This agreement was signed peacefully, and also the DRC government was not forced. They even signed it after defeating the M23, because the basic of the problem is there. We have the issue with these rebels they are claiming their integration. They have some of their leaders still, and also some members, they are still in the regional countries. Some of them are in Rwanda, some of them are in Uganda. But it seems since the government of DRC signed the agreements, they did not show enough the will to comply with those agreements signed on with the M23 leaders in the presence of some regional leaders. And this is exactly what is happening right now. If you try to see different declaration of the M23, they're accusing the government soldiers to attack their different position while they have been regrouping in their position, waiting for the agreement to be executed by the government of the DRC. And now they seem to have a legal platform of claiming for this, because of course there is agreement between the DRC government, even though the people are wondering how and where they're getting their support, but the basic is the agreement between these people and the government of the DRC.
If it is true that there are other powers that are supporting M23, to what advantage? Why would they do that?
You know, the eastern of DRC, we cannot ignore, especially me as a journalist. I've been covering the issue in the eastern DRC for years right now. I'm from the region of Ituri. You know, this region has been in trouble for years, and we have rebellion in this area. If you come right now, you ask question, who is supporting who? They will tell you right now that this group is supported, for example, by Sudan or by Uganda and so on. This has not been some things which is a secret for anyone in the region, simply because of this mixing of tribes and also interests of each regional countries. If today there is a support of the M23 coming from abroad, for example, we have to understand the context of this. All conflict in DRC is based on the origin of ethnic and also the link which you have between one of the tribes to the regional countries. And the M23 is known that in Goma or in the region of North Kivu, you find the same people composing this M23. They are mainly from Tutsi community. The Tutsi community, they are not mainly coming from Rwanda. Yes, of course, they have many roots from Rwanda. But these people, they have origin also in one of the regions called Masisi in the eastern DRC. This is exactly why Rwanda, for example, has been really denying, and they are very, very bad now discussing these issues of M23 all the time. When there is a problem, they always accusing them, saying that Rwanda is the one supporting, simply because in the country, people see the face, people see the link between the tribes. If there is a problem, this tribe, from where they can get support, from which country they can get support. You go in Ituri, you have the same tribe called the Hema. If there is a problem, this is people, they get support from Uganda naturally because they have a link of ethnic with Uganda. This is the same things happening with the M23 today. They are composed in almost like 100% with young boys from Masisi. And these guys from Masisi, they are also from Rwanda. Some of them are also from Uganda. So for the DRC people in Kinshasa, for example, they legally accuse them getting support from Rwanda. And also we have seen during their attack, when they seized the town of Goma, they entered from the border of Goma, from Rwanda entering Goma. They did not come from the bush. They came through the main border of Rwanda. Of course, Rwanda did not deny its support to these people in the past. But today, Rwanda is legally saying, I'm not supporting these people. The DRC has its own problem of respecting the agreement between these people. We help to push for the agreement. The DRC should take its responsibility. So it's very, very difficult right now to confirm whether this time again it is Rwanda, because the regional collaboration between the country has really having some evolution, which you don't really see for what reason Rwanda will support these people for this time, or Uganda. we have a trade collaboration between DRC right now. We even have some private company from the country like Uganda working in DRC. This is exactly why we have seen, for example, Uganda soldiers coming directly to save this area of Bunagana, which is serving as a border between DRC and Uganda, so that it could not fall under the control of the M23. It's really showing that the regional collaboration is increasing behind the ethnic issues. So it's very difficult right now to accuse clearly Rwanda in being behind these people. But the problem, we have to see the side of DRC, what the DRC government is doing with the agreement which was signed. How many % of this agreement was really executed between the two sides? This is the main issues right now. We should really underline and try to see how it's going on.
Right. You've mentioned Rwanda a few times there. The Congolese authorities paraded 2 people who they said were Rwandan soldiers. Could this be true, or could there be political games being played here? What's your assessment?
This issue is really dividing people even here in DRC, mainly in North Kivu. As I mentioned, we have the same people speaking the same language in the DRC army. We have the same Tutsi fighting on the behalf of the DRC army. Some of them are generals. They are speaking the same language. They have the same faces. So it's very difficult right now to convince people for the fact that you just bring 2 guys on TV showing the same face with some Rwandan guys or with some guys from Gisenyi or from Kigali. It's very difficult. If you go in the Masisi area, you will find thousands of the same faces of these people turning around, doing the business. They have never even been in Rwanda. They are just the DRC citizen. So this conflict or this situation is behind the faces, is behind ethnic issues, is really a political issues which no one should run away from, is the responsibility. The eastern region of DRC is populated by many people called Nilotics. Nilotics, they have the same faces. You find them in Ituri region. From where I am, for example, we have these people, they call them Hema. They have the same face, they speak the same language. So it's not issues of faces or people speaking the same languages. This is why you have seen, for example, the DRC government, the government authorities were very, very concerned about the army communication accusing directly Rwanda, because they do understand that there is a big problem if only people should be accused on their faces or on their ethnic issues. It's not really giving a clear picture whether who is supporting or really they are coming from Rwanda government. Of course, if you come back again, you will see that these people, they were already presented a few months past. So it was not a direct prisoner. So I think there was a problem of communication in the army. They wanted really to bring some things to the population, because these issues of M23 is really, really making trouble, and people are so concerned all the time when population, they see the same issues coming. So the army was a little bit under the pressure of coming out with some communication. Unfortunately, this did not work the way they were expecting. This is the confusion we have seen. Day after, the government, the central government, was obliged to withdraw the communication from the army to avoid the diplomatic confusion in this, especially when it comes to deal with faces or ethnic issues. It's no longer, this conflict is behind this ethnic and conflict, also regional issues, because if you accuse someone because of his face or because of the language, what about the general? We have generals speaking the same language. They have the same faces in the army, fighting, dying for the DRC army, for the population. So it's really behind. I think we should come again to ask the question, is the agreement really respected, or the government has another priority? And now these guys seems to be a little bit under the pressure. They need to bring their people back. They need to go in the army. They need to integrate the army. They are a little bit fed up to stay in the bush, but they still have capacity to make pressure. And I think as a journalist, they tried to make alarm, but unfortunately by using guns and another way, which has caused the victims, for example, from the UN side, it's very pity, and it should not happen like this in both sides, unfortunately.
All right, Alain, we're going to have to leave it there. Your insights are greatly appreciated. Thanks for that analysis. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.